A radiation hazard. Can I be in your new video? Yeah, if I don't, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna grab. Yeah, whatever.
Military Conflict Vietnam is a multiplayer shooter being developed by the group Dustfade, and it is running on the commercial CSGO Source Engine branch. It's currently in early access and you can buy it from the Steam store right now. Keep in mind that it's in early access, so that means it's under development. Everything you see here in the video is subject to change one way or another. Alright, so let's start from the most important bit, the gameplay. I'd say this is the type of game that would attract a lot of casual players like myself. I'm not a pro gamer, so I like that it has a very smooth and easy learning curve, tight controls, and generally fun gameplay. Think of it as Day of Defeat Source, but not as difficult. A good balance between Day of Defeat, Counter-Strike, and any Call of Duty game. But don't let that make you think that this game's gameplay is a copy of any of those games. It's not. The weapons feel amazing to use, each of them have their own distinct feel and sound, and oh boy, there are a lot of weapons in this game. The amount of guns they crammed into this is absolutely based. All of them are era-accurate weaponry used both by the American Armed Forces and the North Vietnamese Army. You got M16s, M14s, M1 Garands, Thompsons, AK-47s, AKMs, SVDs, and the list just goes on and on. I swear, if you're a gun nut, you're gonna freak out with joy over the guns this game has. So even for an early access game, the game has a respectable amount of maps to play in, taking place in major battles that took place during the war. Saigon, Khe Sanh, the US Embassy siege, Hue, and so on. Along with that, you get the essential game modes: Capture the Flag, Conquest, Team Deathmatch, Deathmatch, Gun Game, and Gun Game Deathmatch. The developers have stated that over the course of the development, they will be adding in new content like maps, modes, and cosmetics free of charge and free of any microtransactions, and I love that. With modern games so crammed up with microtransactions, it always feels like a breath of fresh air to not see it in a game. There's also bot support for the maps, so you can duke it out with bots as well, although they do need a little bit of work right now. And lastly, there's even workshop support for this. People have already started to port over maps from other Source games. Now, speaking on the gameplay again, you get different classes with different functionalities. Medic does the usual healing, Radio Man calls in strikes, but I wasn't able to figure out what the Engineer does. You have access to all the weapons in the loadout screen, equip different secondary items like pistols and rockets, and change your soldier's look too. One thing I'd suggest for this game is a proper training level though. It does have one now, but it's a basic obstacle course and a gun range. An improved tutorial that shows what the different classes do would be a big help to players who aren't used to online shooters and get veteran players familiar with the mechanics. Now, the most important part for me is always the gunplay in shooters. I talked about it earlier, but let me get into the nitty-gritty. I am a player who doesn't like overtly complex shooters, nor do I like extremely simple games. I want a middle ground where I feel challenged but I don't have to think too much. So far, MCV has been able to provide me with that. You have to get used to each of the gun's recoil, get used to the fast-paced movement, and check your surroundings. While I will talk about the graphics in a minute, I do want to share about the layouts of the map. Some players might feel like the maps are a bit small, but I think they're okay for a 24 players match. There aren't any easy camping spots, and even if there are counter camping spots to them too. So overall, the maps do feel very professionally laid out. The graphics. When I heard about this game a few days ago, honestly it came out of nowhere, and learned that it ran on the Source engine, I was a bit intrigued, but also concerned too. But I'm happy to say that it really holds up well visually. This is running on CSGO's Source engine branch, and the way the team has modified it for their game is awesome. To be honest, it doesn't even feel like a Source game at times. You've got intense foliage, post-processing and particle effects, and all sorts of stuff that really brings out a unique image for the game. Couple that with how it all presents itself with the music and the sounds, it hits the mark right in the center. Now unfortunately, this is where I have to skew towards the negatives. Again, this game being in early access, I can't complain too much, but I feel like it's not very well optimized at the moment. Now, honestly, it might be my PC that's weak. I run a Ryzen 5 3600 and an RX 580, and I haven't seen any other review where they say they were lagging or had optimization issue. Maybe my graphic card is showing its age, I don't know. But again, seeing how active the devs are at improving this game, even if there are any optimization issues, I'm very assured that they will get it fixed soon. But anyway, graphically the game looks amazing, even for a Source game. In the footage, I had my settings in a mix of high and medium, and I wasn't pushing this game at all. You can really push this game to shine a lot. Each map has its own personality and style, filled to the brim with all sorts of details. Really surprised me, to be honest. The maps were awesome. Another drawback, not specifically for the game but in general, is that the game doesn't have a lot of players like it should. But it's understandable because it's new. But that's also why I'm making this video. If the footage and the idea interests you, I would highly suggest this game for anyone who's looking for a fun, fast-paced shooter set in the Vietnam War era. There are always a few players online playing the game, and I had a lot of fun with them. I really do think that this game needs a much larger player base. Support it if you can. Regarding updates, while I haven't read any official statements, I did read a review that the devs are also working on a single player campaign as well. I don't know how official that is, but if it is real, combine that with the solid foundation they got going for the multiplayer component, I'd say that will become a pretty good package overall. All in all, MCV is proving to be a very promising game with loads of content already in it and much more to come later. I think this just might be a great contender for becoming a mainstream shooter. If the devs keep at it and the players keep supporting it, it just might. It's a perfect throwback to a classic online shooter with a mixture of modern graphics and presentation. Maybe in the future, it might be nice to see a bigger map added in, or two of them, and a game mode like King of the Hill, where one team has to keep a center point captured at all times to earn points. I don't know, just thinking out loud. Over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of games releasing in this style. Some set in World War II, some set in Vietnam, and I tried a few of them and ignored some of them completely because a lot of them looked very complex, and that's the point I'm trying to make here: simplicity. It doesn't hurt a game to be simple and fun, because fun is the only element you should care about in a game. If you're not having fun, then it's not a good game. So in the end, I wish the best of luck to the developers and hope that this game gets the success that it deserves. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to these members for supporting the channel: Alien Grunt, Mark Jelen, A Normal Street Lamp, Marsleon, Klaus, T-Boy301, HL1+1, TRR Droid, The Hazardous Memer, Bipolit the Fighter, Forgotten, and Skyclad. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.
Radiation hazard. Jesse, you need to cook.